Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. Unless of course you're watching this when it came out 6:45 a.m. So Sunday kind of just started. But otherwise, I hope you're having a great day. Today we've got quite a big one. I've already colored in the map. So today it's going to be what if the world's greatest empires came back. Now, of course, there's going to be a few ones missing. Like I didn't include the Soviet Union or some other stuff in like the Americas over here. So I'm just going to quickly run by you what I did. So first up, over here, the green team. Uh, I'm just going to be referring to these empires as their colors. Just what I always do. It's the easiest for me. So over here, the green team. This is the Mongol Empire. Now, of course, I know these borders are slightly different. Like they didn't have all of Turkey; they only had like half of it. But it's just a simplified version. So this is the Mongol Empire. Over here, the blue team is the French Empire. And so this area they have in Europe is, of course, when Napoleon was around, and then they have their colonies in Africa. Speaking of Africa, there's also the British Empire. They have their colonies here, and they also have the British Raj, parts of Middle East, Canada, and Australia, New Zealand, and Papua New Guinea. So this, of course, is the biggest empire in history. Their height was in 1922. And then over here in South America, I wanted to include a South American empire. So there's the Brazilian Empire. They're not too big, but they work. They work for this. And a disclaimer is that everybody here has modern technology, so it's not like they're fighting with like muskets and like spears and stuff. They all have modern technology. Over here, we have the Mexican Empire. And I know this part over here, this border is all wrong. I just decided to give a chunk out of the United States to Mexico. I just drew random line. I mean, they got Texas, California, New Mexico, and all the key parts. So basically that's it. And then of course there's like the normal countries that still exist. There's a fair amount of them. You got like you still got like a lot of strong places like Russia. You got Scandinavia and parts of Europe, Japan, Indonesia, Argentina, Peru, and United States is significantly weaker. I would say now Russia is the strongest. USA would drop down to probably like fifth place. So yeah, we'll see what happens if they form alliances and how the world might be if these empires came back. And so, first things first, we're going to start down here in Africa. So, here we have the free countries of Angola and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. But free they will be no longer after, well, they get invaded by both France and the UK. So, we're going to have, first of all, France coming in from the north, of course. They're coming in pretty quickly one color, coming in pretty quickly from the north as they drop down. And then, of course, from the east, and south, there's gonna be the British popping out and spreading all over. So the Congo, of course, is gonna try their best to fight back, but they aren't gonna be able to do much when they're surrounded on like multiple fronts. Now, of course, also Angola is going to be invaded by the British. And so slowly a front is going to open up from practically all sides. And it's going to also start being brought into the DRC. The UK once again opens another front, this time in the north. And France and the UK are going to have a little friendly race called Who Can Get the Most Land. And so that's exactly what they try to do. They both just go straight in looking for as much land as they can get, and it's going pretty well. Their efforts, they're getting quite a bit of land for themselves, and eventually the front line is going to reach to the center of the Congo, and essentially all the land is just being taken. The capital, Kinshasa, right here, is going to be flooded with the French troops, and it's going to be split, yeah, relatively in half. So here we see them getting a fair portion each of the Congo, but let's take a look at what's going to be happening down here. So we see the British just going crazy in here, just taking everything. Yeah, that's what they do. And so Central America, or Central Africa, sorry, has been completely colonized. So I guess the rest is going to start to be colonized. Now, the rest of the world is watching, of course, as one may do when you see an entire continent just being colonized by two countries, these two. And so, you know what time it is. It's time to form a coalition. So Europe is probably guessing that they're next when they have like this on their doorstep. So they're gonna form a group, and I'm gonna try to find a color that I haven't used yet. So we're just having a simple European defense system, we'll call it. So it's gonna consist Poland, Belarus, Ukraine, Romania. We're gonna drop in all the Scandinavian countries here. Welcome to the team. And slowly, maybe more countries will join. So let's not leave out the Mongols, of course. So let's see what they're up to. So, famously in history, if you know, they tried to conquer Japan, but their sea attempts have failed. So, that's what they're trying for another time. So, immediately, we're going to see Mongol ships sail off of the southern coast of South Korea into the southern ship tip of Japan. And they're actually going to make a successful beachhead right there. They're also going to start going after this other island down here, and they're also going to be successful down there. And why not keep up the success when going after Taiwan, as they're able to penetrate the island? Down here, we see Australia, New Zealand, and Papua New Guinea. The British Empire is gonna probably go after these countries here, and so that's probably worrisome to them as they try to strategize on seeing if they might be able to work together to save themselves. But back to the Mongols up here, their efforts in Japan are going by fairly well. Japan is a strong country, but when you're going against this, uh, it's not going to go in your favor, and so it's not, as the southern island is going to fall much more quickly than the main island, but efforts are still going well, and we see another beachhead up here, and attempt to cut this middle part off. Over here in South America, we have the Empire of Brazil. They have a pretty huge advantage in the fact that they're the only empire down here, and they're the strongest country here. There's of course like Argentina and Peru and Colombia who are reasonably strong, but this is gonna probably be like their time to shine. And so time to shine for them it is as they start their invasion, not of Argentina, but instead they're gonna go after Chile, as they are gonna do their best to breach the mountainous regions of this, but they do a little and just realize it's not worth it. So they turn their sights north to Venezuela, which of course they're gonna be able to penetrate. I know there's a jungle and all, but they're good with their knowledge of this kind of stuff. And so they brush up through the southern tip, controlling all of this part of Venezuela, as they also start to an campaign into Colombia. And so their efforts are working pretty well. And so seeing that Brazil is pretty distracted, everybody down here is going to start to gang up on them. So we see another team forming. This is going to be the light blue team. So it's just every single country in here. And so Brazil has got quite the problems to worry about. So immediately they're going to be pushed completely out of Chile, as a front just bursts into them, and then just a long line is just going to be formed, as Argentina is going to also start a front in Paraguay and Uruguay. So this is there's like 9 countries in South America, because this is UK. This is always a part of France, and then Brazil has like one, two, three countries. So there's about like 9 or 8. They have the least amount of countries. So Brazil immediately is going to withdraw all their troops uh, from from Colombia and Venezuela, and immediately start their defense as well. Here come the light blue troops, and they're coming in pretty fast. But instead of focusing on the area over here, gonna try to breach them in the east to hopefully get to Brasilia and other important cities like Rio. And so doing that, they do, but it's gonna successfully be pushed out by the Brazilians as Brazil starts their own front. They're gonna start their own front in this part of Argentina, which actually is gonna go pretty well. And they're effectively gonna be able to push them out of Paraguay. Sorry, I chose a different color of purple. I just didn't choose the right one. Sorry about that. But down here in Uruguay, things are, and I chose the wrong shade of blue. Sorry about that. But things are going pretty well. They're going to be able to actually breeze through. This is a combined effort of Chile and Argentina. And they're essentially going to cut off this whole place from the coast, which they're able to successfully do, as no coast remains for Uruguay. And they just close in and are able to take the entire country. So it's looking like Brazil might be the first empire to fall because they have like everybody in their continent against them. But before that happens, why don't we take it north to Mexico? So we see Mexico with these weird borders that I made, and they're not quite ready for a war with USA yet. So who else do they go after but the Caribbean or the Caribbean, whichever you prefer. I prefer Caribbean. That's just what I always say. And they're gonna go after Cuba first. So they start a beachhead down here, and are actually gonna be able to breeze through quite easy, taking over these smaller islands, the Bahamas, Jamaica, and start on Haiti. And then there's these Caribbean states over here. Puerto Rico is a part of the USA, so they're not gonna go up against that, but they breeze through the Caribbean, and things are looking pretty good for them. So they see South America is pretty distracted, so why not go after them? They're gonna immediately start to attack Colombia from the north, from their part of Panama, and they're actually gonna be able to get in pretty well because Colombia is not expecting this attack. Since all their troops are like down here, they have nobody defending them. And so Bogota is being threatened by the Mexicans as they have this very large front line, and quite a bit of land is being taken. So Colombia, seeing this, is gonna start to withdraw their troops, allowing for Brazil to push back and actually start to take some of Colombia's land. So this is worrying to the coalition, but it's not too bad because they got this front down here. Peru's gonna start a front. They just gotta, or Peru's gonna help defend Colombia. They got Venezuela. What's to worry about? Except for the British. So there's just complete and utter mess down here. The British have decided that they want to go after some land down here, fortify their claims. And so sending their troops here, they take control of some of these Caribbean states. They're pretty small to color, so I'm not going to. Yeah, they have that. And they're going to start a front in Venezuela. And so from this northern part, they're also going to connect down here to this eastern part, and they're going to push in rather successfully as they have superior strength to this singular country. And so things are just falling apart in the north for the coalition. So they're going to make a hard choice. They've effectively kicked out Venezuela and Colombia. So that's not going to go too well for either of these countries, as we're going to see Mexico just start to breeze in completely, as well as the British. And so they're pushing in quite well. The Brazilians decide not to go after land. They're just going to hold on to what they have because they still got all of this to focus on down here. And speaking of which, there's some stuff that's happening down here. We see Paraguay being pushed into, and the Brazilians being completely kicked out of Argentina as the land gains just continue, and the fronts also begin to push further and pop up more and more. As it's just not going too well for the Brazilians, but at least they still have a ton of land. They have quite a bit of land. Over here, once again, with the British, they're just going to completely cut it off from their border from Brazil, and it's over for Venezuela and for Colombia. So things here are pretty good. There's Mexico got bigger, UK got bigger. They got more land down here. So now they're gonna expand their land up here. So what else, of course, but to invade the USA, of which they do from Canada. I think this part is Canada. Yeah. Okay, so they're gonna come down into Maine and breeze right through. Just as I said, the USA isn't as strong. The UK, actually, maybe I need to redo these numbers. USA is like maybe top 20 because there's all these empires that are pretty strong. UK is of course stronger than them, so it's not gonna be too. USA isn't gonna be able to do too well against UK. So, of course, the British are just gonna push in from northern Maine and they're just gonna go down. They're being met with walls of American soldiers, but that's not gonna be too much of trouble for them. They're also gonna start to descend from the north down into Washington, lesser Washington. I think Washington didn't lose too much land to Mexico here. And also from down here, which is, this isn't Calgary. This is like, I wanna say this is, no, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know what this is. British Columbia is over here. Calgary is like over here. And then this is don't know. And but back to the war, they're gonna make their landings over here in Michigan and are gonna be able to successfully just take the state as they move straight down. But that's enough of Americas for now. Let's take it all the way back to Japan and take a look at how Green Team is doing. So, as we expected, Southern Island is gone, Taiwan is gone, and Japan's actually holding on pretty well. They've lost land, but not too much land. There's still Tokyo that's safe, but we see Sa- Sakhalin, yes, Sakhalin being breached by the Green Team and just being taken out from the north, as well as this northern island and the north part of Japan. And so this is where things are going to get pretty good for this pink team. Haven't talked too much about them, but they're going to do something pretty big. They're going to add Russia, of course, and they're going to add these Baltic states, and they're going to war. They are declaring war on the Mongols, and they feel pretty confident. I mean, they've got Poland, Ukraine, Finland, Sweden, Russia. What could go wrong? And so, they ask themselves that, and so they get to jump on the Mongols, and they're actually able to, whoa, they're able to breeze into Georgia and actually push down. So here we're gonna see like these Eastern European troops coming down here into Turkey, uh, skipping over Istanbul, and they're gonna move. They're moving east, capturing the city of Ankara as well as the northern coast. And then we see Scandinavia and Russia pushing through into the Middle East, as well as an effort into Kazakhstan. So, Mongol Empire, seeing this, not good. They're gonna not stop their efforts in Japan, just slow it down. So, their efforts in Japan are slowing down, not coming to a halt. But they've got bigger fish to fry, and that's of course these fish in the east. So, they've had a head start, the pink team, so they're going to be able to take quite a bit of land, of which they're able to successfully do. But this is when the Mongols are here, they're ready, and for goodness sake, they're Mongols, so they're easily going to be able to get them pretty far back. But hey, who's this? Who's that I hear calling? Why, it's the British. The British are here and they're ready to rumble. They're fighting on almost every single continent on Earth now: Africa, Asia, South America, North America. They only need Europe and actually, they got this all. Yeah, but they're here. And let's see what they do. So first, they're cutting Turkey in half. Good move, severing it from Iran, and they're gonna start moving in. and something strange is gonna happen. They're actually gonna form an alliance with the pink team. Not an alliance, just something like they're not gonna attack each other, and they're gonna kind of help each other to take down green team because they both don't want it. So pink team gonna accept. So it's gonna go pretty well for them. We see red team just going through. I would say the British Empire is powerful, not powerful, more powerful than the Mongol Empire, just probably by a little. Again, this is in the east where most of their might is over here. So they do have slight defenses, but it's not going to be as worrisome over here, especially after the cutoff over here. And so pink and red team are doing pretty good, breezing through Turkey. When of course it's just going to be captured. There's not much they can do to save it. So I'm going to give that to purple team, pink team. I mean, there's already a purple team, and so the sights are now turned to Central Asia, where we see purple team just combining all their efforts over here in Kazakhstan and setting up multiple fronts in the north and descending upon them. Whereas over here in the west, the British have taken a liking to northern Iran. And so they're going pretty good, doing pretty good, breezing through. But that's not to say what's happening over here, where we're gonna see the green team, we're going to see them shine over here. As I said previously, this is where their might is. So they're going to take this to a whole new level. Of course, as I said previously, this is the Mongols. They're like super good at fighting. With modern technology, they're also good. They're fierce. They know what they're doing. And so, yeah, they're pushing in. Of course, the real power over here is like India, Pakistan, Myanmar. It's decent, but the real trouble is going to be when they hit India, which might not even be that much trouble for them. And so we see Myanmar completely gone, as the eastern part of India is gone. Again, not the main part. Bhutan wiped out, Bangladesh moving in, and here is when we meet India, where it breaches in the borders, but it all comes to a stop. But another front opening up, going around Nepal, but they're gonna come in from the north from multiple sides. They're pushing in decently into Pakistan and India, but these are areas of higher population, better economy, and just uh, Britain cares about this more, so they have better defenses here. Back in Iran, we see the British continuing their push in pretty well. Purple team, they're halted. They're actually getting pushed back quite a bit by green team, but not too much, just a little bit. Oh, that's too much. And so now we've got a pretty big war happening here. We got the British Empire versus the Mongol Empire versus a European coalition. And so speaking of which, I'm sure you're wondering, well, yeah, the pink team is helping the red team. They're gonna crush the Mongols, but that's not to say that the red team, the ever so sneaky British, are just going to completely turn on their pink team friends and are pushing back them and taking all the land for themselves. So that is actually where this video is going to end. Three major powerful teams fighting each other. Africa almost entirely colonized. Not much action down here. And North America being left to it. Pretty long video, I know. It's a longer, bigger topic. It's fun to make. I really enjoy this. Of course, part two should be coming out in 7 days, unless I'm busy. But otherwise, I appreciate you for taking time out of your day. I hope you'll come back for next week. See how this ends, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Goodbye.